All right, I think I'm going to do a little vlog this week and getting ready to go for a little tempo run and do a little check-in before and a check-in after. And two things were on my mind this week. One, we'll start off with the challenge itself, and then the other one I'll talk about after the run was the Forum podcast. So with the challenge, in mind, I think it's, and I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings or anything here. I think it's kind of funny slash sad to see people, quitting and giving up on this challenge in May. I honestly thought in June when we'd actually do the Step Up Challenge, we'd see a lot more people quit. But I don't think the pack mule workouts or the step ups is probably the best thing I could be doing with my time as far as like my personal fitness goes. But like it's 4 pack mule workouts. It's, 4 step out workouts in a month. That's 8 workouts in a 31 days. And then the rest of the time you're able to do whatever you want. The way I look at it is I signed up for this challenge to win a sheep hunt. Obviously I've learned a lot about backpacking and like my personal fitness and some weak areas and yada yada yada, but like I could have paid a personal trainer here to do those kinds of things with me, but the bottom end of the day, I want to win a sheep hunt. I want to win a goat hunt. And if Mark and Steve say, hey, we want you to do a ballerina class, boys, I'm signing up because I want to win the challenge. That's what I'm here to do. I don't know, almost sad to see people give up so easily. And I know that there's people that got like life going on and, there's things stopping them. But there's some people that it sounds like they've just chose not to because they don't want to do step ups or they don't want to do the pack mule workouts. And, more power to you. But, I'm glad my odds are getting better. But just, I think we all knew what we signed up for. We got to do what Mark and Steve want us to do if you want to win that sheep hunt. And that's what we all agreed to. And, within reason, short of like killing somebody, I'm going to do whatever they tell me to do for these challenges. So that's my thought on the challenge right now in May. And then I'm going to hit this run, and then we'll talk about the Forum podcast a little bit when I get back. All right, back from the run, 3 miles. Little tempo run. I'll post the stats up here so you guys can look at something besides my ugly face. But I was thinking about the Forum podcast, and was very controversial in his first podcast and caused a lot of kerfuffle. And I think a lot of what he says is, makes good sense. It's right. Yada yada yada. I got a couple qualms with it. The first being, and I know some people have done some crazy stuff and we gotta protect our identity and yada yada yada, but it sounds like he's in a voice changer, and they use a nickname for him, and maybe he killed Osama, I don't know, but it's hard for me to look at anonymous sources and take value from it. It's kind of like when you read political stuff and it's coming from an unknown source. So you're looking at NIL stuff in basketball, and they're like, oh, this kid's gonna go here, and they're like, well, what's your source? And I'm like, well, I can't tell you. And it's like, well, you could just be making that up. And in his defense, I don't think he's making this up. I think this guy has tons of experience, way more than I'll ever have, probably way smarter than me, and from like an outsider's perspective that doesn't know the guy that's just listening to him on a podcast, it's hard to take what somebody says when they don't, you can't put like an identity with the person. I thought, him being anti-tripod was very funny, because Mark and Steve have been like they're super tripod guys. That was kind of funny to listen to. The one thing I do really agree with him on is like everybody sucks. I think like I was a pretty good basketball player, and I practiced almost every single day, an hour, 2-3 hours a day sometimes. And the best I could do was go NAIA Division II. They don't even have that division anymore, but I went NAIA Division II. And I practice a lot. Now, shooting's a little different. You don't have to be super athletic or this or that, but there's not a lot of guys that are shooting that much. There's just not. I mean, we have families and lives and work, and we just can't go out and shoot hundreds of thousands of rounds each year and keep improving and getting better. So I do totally agree with him. I think everybody sucks, and I think, when we start talking about successful, harvests or not, I think a big problem, at least my opinion is we got a lot of guys taking shots that are way too far. They have no business taking. I think like if you're shooting gophers or coyotes or pests and you want to like poke out there 600, 700, 800 yards. I mean, some of these guys are shooting ridiculous distances, and some people are really good at it, but I think there are a lot of people who have no business shooting past 300 yards, 400 yards. I would love to be able to build up to, being a 500-600 yard shooter. But it's going to take me some time. I'd say right now I'm a 250 kind of shooter at best. So I think shooting, too far, is a big issue. I don't think it really has anything to do with caliber. I think if you put a 6 Creedmoor or if you put a 300 Win Mag in the right spot, like it's, you're going to get a dead animal. And my other thought on the podcast was he made a recommendation on a rifle, on a Tikka, with the suppressor and stuff, and I think 6 Creedmoor is kind of what he recommended. That's fine. I really like the 25 Creedmoor. He kind of spat on it, but I think the 25 Creedmoor is like that Goldilocks cartridge, at least just from an outsider's point looking in. And Mark and Steve, they seem like good guys. But I think some people in the hunting industry, and I know they're selling packs and selling guns and selling ammo, like yada yada yada, whatever they're selling, but they kind of forget like what the average working guy is able to afford. I just got a new Ruger American Gen 2. I think it's a really nice rifle. But I had to sell my, Marlin 336 to get some cash to kind of make the sting of buying a new rifle hurt less. Not everybody can just run out there and spend $2,000 or $3,000 on putting together a rifle. I mean, this little Ruger American, $650 to get the rifle. It's going to be $100 on like halfway decent rings. So now I'm at $750. I'm going to put let's say a $500 scope on there. I'm at $1,150. If I put a can on it, now I'm at $1,700. You run a couple boxes of ammo through to see what it's like. You're easily up into the $2,000. And that was with a Ruger American. So I think people in the industry are kind of out of touch with the average Americans, average people out here kind of feeling financially. I mean, I'm a teacher. I have a good job. I get paid decently. My wife has a good job. We We're definitely in the solid middle class, but it's hard out here. You just can't go dropping $2,000-$3,000 on rifles, every time you turn around. Which kind of leads me to being a one rifle man. I think you need to find, through research and go try them out, try out your buddies, find out which cartridge and rifle you like the best, get it and get proficient with it, and don't, be jumping around all this different gear and guns, because I think you can put that money into hunts and experiences rather than guns that sit in safes. And then that's going to bring me full circle here. I think just shoot what you got. I mean, I know I had a 30-30 and I traded it in, but that was extremely limited on its range. I think any kind of semi-modern cartridge, a 30-06, 270, 280 Ackley, 243. I mean, if you want to go that low, whatever you got in your safe that is capable of reaching out there to your effective range, and use it. Shoot with it, get good with it, get proficient with it, and just use it. You don't have to have the latest and greatest this and that. I mean, for hundreds of years, people have been, killing animals with muskets, and there's no reason why you can't take your 270, go out there and kill anything that walks around on planet Earth. So use what you got, I think, and be happy with it, or use what you like. I think Form's probably a really cool guy, but he can say and do whatever he wants, and I can say and do whatever I want, and so can you. So if you like your 270 or 30-06, your 30, keep shooting them. This is the last thing I want to say about the podcast. It is, he talked about suppressors and muzzle brakes, and he kind of double talked out of his mouth, because he's like, he would never use a muzzle brake, but if you're in Canada, you should use a muzzle brake with a baffle thing, and to control the blast or whatever. And I definitely think calling, being able to see your shot and see your impacts is definitely important. I'm not trying to take away from that. But you can put a really aggressive brake on some of these 30 cals, or 270, 284, 280 type of rounds, and you can really make them very docile. Obviously you're gonna have ear protection, and the people around you definitely need ear protection, and it's something that you're gonna have to contend with. But until suppressors really became readily available, everybody had to do that. So I guess in summary, I think if you want to shoot stuff with a 22 Creedmoor, have at it. If you want to shoot stuff with a 338 Lapua, have at it. It's your life, it's your money, it's your opportunities, and at the end of the day, you've got to make the decision about what's going to be the best for you, and in your situation. So that's my thoughts. Thanks for watching.